Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video series of engineering economics and cost analysis. So in the last video we have discussed about what are the different types of costs available. We have discussed about fixed cost, variable cost, marginal cost and all. So in today's video, in this video we are going to discuss about what are the different costing approaches we have through which in today's session we will be going to discuss about what are the different ways or different methods through which we can fix the cost for a product. So in that we have in general there are two different types of costing approaches. One is traditional costing approach, TCA, and the other one is activity based costing, which is ABC, which is activity based costing. Okay, now let's get into the topic. So why we need these costing approaches? Because company needs accounting systems to track the cost of their operations. So in order to track those costs, we need to have a proper costing mechanism so that we can make changes whenever required or whenever possible. So the most commonly used systems are traditional costing and activity based costing. One of these is easy to implement and inexpensive, while the other costing approach is a bit costlier to use but gives you greater accuracy. So let's discuss each method in detail. First, let's see about traditional costing method. Traditional costing method is an approach used to assign cost to products based on the volume of resources used, such as labor hours or machine hours. So it basically aims to determine the cost of producing or providing a service by allocating indirect cost to the products based on the volume of resources consumed. For example, the direct labor or machine hours that will be taken into account when fixing a cost for a product. So this traditional costing approach aims to allocate indirect cost to the products based on the predetermined cost drivers. So this costing approach mainly concentrates on the indirect cost that has been incurred while producing a product. So this method assumes that all the overhead cost results from a single factor. For an example, if the direct labor hours or machine usage is the indirect cost, that will be taken into account, and this factor, that is the labor hour or machine usage, will be the primary driver for the overhead expenses. So here we have given a small pictorial representation of a flow chart in which how this traditional costing is done. So first, how it has been fixed is that first we have to identify the direct cost and then identify the indirect cost, then determine the cost drivers. So when we are finding the indirect cost, there will be different factors that will be come into picture, but there are only certain factors will be the driving force or deciding factor for fixing the cost. So determine those cost drivers and then calculate the overhead rates. Now allocate the indirect cost to products, like calculate the total product divided by the total cost divided by the product. Likewise, you allocate indirect cost to each product and then finally calculate the total cost. So this is how the traditional costing method will be done. So this method allocates indirect cost to the products. It is very simple and the cost allocation is very easy to understand and to implement, but it has limitations because it becomes inaccurate because it does not calculate the direct cost, and also it has the inability to account for the impact of non-volume related cost drivers. so it is less expensive. So in this video we have seen about traditional costing method. The rest we